Cool.
Okay, should we start?
Whenever.
Let's wait a few seconds for people to join us. Let's give them a minute or two.
I can share my screen though.
Fabio, let's start.
So we will start right now. Good afternoon for everybody. I am in Brazil. Good evening to you, Amir. You are in Israel. Hello, everyone. My name is Fabio Kaufman, and I'm the president of Keren Hayesot in Rio de Janeiro. I will be moderating this webinar. I promise to do my best and to make everyone have a little bit of fun, enjoy, and learn the most from our host of the evening, Amir Elichai. I would like to remind everyone that questions are welcome and available through the Q&A button on the bottom of everybody's screen. Welcome to this week's InterConnection webinar. This is important for me to mention that this is the 10th webinar in the InterConnection series, and we thank you all for participating and supporting this initiative. For those of you who don't know, the InterConnection webinar series is the initiative spearheaded for our leadership division. Ahead of the coronavirus crisis, we set out to create a webinar series that would connect young leadership from all over the world with engaging content for Israel leading policymakers and researchers. Given the current situation, we understood the unique opportunity to provide the greater Keren Hayesot worldwide family with meaningful content and an opportunity to learn from and content with leading experts in the fields of technology and innovation from the comfort of your own home. This year, we are celebrating 100 years of Keren Hayesot, an incredible milestone as the preeminent worldwide fundraising organization for Israel. For 100 years, Keren Hayesot has been dedicating to fundraising that support the well-being of the people of Israel. Thank you all for your support. Now it is my distinct honor to introduce you all to today's distinguished guest, Amir Elichai, who will take us to his personal entrepreneurial journey that began as just a dream and eventually became a reality. Amir is the founder and the global chief executive officer of Carbyne, a public safety technology company that has developed a call handling ecosystem which delivers advanced IP-enabled communication features and caller solutions. Amir is a former Israeli officer who served in different positions in the Special Elite Forces and in the Intelligence Corps. He learned his LLB and his BA from IDC. Amir, thank you very much, and thank you for being with us today.
Sure. Thank you, Fabio. Thank you, Edna, for inviting me. I was very happy to invest this 1 hour and to explore my journey and to basically hear if you have any kind of questions after I will finish hopefully my short presentation about the journey, and it's absolutely a massive journey here at Carbyne. So feel free to ask any question, and if needed, I'm more than happy for you to approach me later on in my email, amir@carbyne911.com. So I've started Carbyne 5.5 years ago after I've been robbed in Tel Aviv Beach. And this was a real story. And this is not a real picture, but just to emphasize what was happened to me. I was robbed by 3 people. And when I tried to call emergency services, the reaction, even in what they called startup nation, was totally disaster. And currently we are working worldwide in many different places, and I can share that when you're dialing 911 or dialing to emergency services, they're still totally blind, and they start to ask me, what's my name, where am I, what's happening around me? And I thought to myself, how come that still in the 21st century, when I'm dialing to emergency services around the globe, but especially in Israel, what you expect the startup nation to be very advanced, they're totally blind? And how come when I'm dialing to order Uber or ordering pizza, they know all about me, they know my name, they know my phone number, credit card, they know all about me. So I said, we have to find a solution. Immediately what I did, I drew a presentation. It looked very, very poor. And this was my first slide that I ever drew when I was alone in my home. And I called it Reporty. The slogan was live anywhere. And I started to put the wording on a very ugly slide. And I thought to myself, what was missing when I was starting my report to the Israeli police agency, and why they asked me so many questions? How come that they don't know what's my name, where am I, what is really happening, how come that they are not adopting live video technologies, etc. And this was the second slide in my presentation. So the idea was how to basically bring as much information possible into emergency services to give them all what they need in order to help me in real time. The next thing that I did in December 2013 was I found a tool that I can basically explain what I want to do. And the idea was to have a very simple application that you can click one button, and this button basically will stream information into the police officers, and they will be able to see what is happening to me, and they will be able to send me chats, and they will be able to see where I am in a map. And basically, this is what I did. Few months after, I met a good friend of mine from the army, and I call them the pinky and the brain, which is basically the people behind the technology of Carbyne. Both graduate from a master's in computer engineering from Bar-Ilan University. And they came to me and said, listen, we have a very powerful technology for indoor positioning. And immediately I remind myself what was my challenge when I called to emergency services. And I said, listen, I don't want to help you to raise funds for your indoor positioning technology, but I'm working on something called Reporty. And I think that your capabilities with mine could be very compelling event for emergency services around the world. And in July 2014, we're introducing for the first time Reporty Homeland Security, which this was the name of the company back then. And then we started to work on the design, and slowly we did some focus group. We worked with people from the industry. We tried to understand, what was missing when I reported to the 911 here in Israel. And we started to develop the the command and control. This is my founder. We had no offices. We work from our homes. And very, very fast, we met with Ashdod municipality. We showed them what we have. This is historical pictures. And they said, oh, this is amazing. The ability for cities to be able to see live video from citizens instead of having CCTVs all over the place. This is great. And the pilot was very successful. And immediately we got a phone call from the Israeli Red Cross, Magen David Adom, who said, listen, this can be very powerful technology. So why don't we pilot your technology? And fortunately, in April 2015, former Prime Minister of Israel and myself, we met, and he decided to invest $1.5 million into the company as seed investment. You can see in the picture myself and my CTO, Alex Dizingov, and the Israeli chief scientist joined with another 300,000 into investment. Later on, we did another investment round, another 7.15 million from a variety of different investors from the US. Some of you maybe know Robert Kraft and some other investors. And last August, in August 2018, Peter Thiel, who is one of the founders of Palantir, the first investors in Facebook, for the first time invested in Israel and for the first time invested at Carbyne. Up until today, we've raised $42.5 million. And today our company named Carbyne, which is the strongest material in the nature, is basically building the future generation of emergency services around the world. What we've realized is as the world is moving forward and people are now communicating through a variety of different devices, and there is an evolution in communication in general. It was starting 70 years ago when people used to call from phone booths, moved to landline, mobile devices, smartphones, and the world looks amazing. IoT, connected cars, drones, smart watches, but all of these cannot serve emergency services because of the fact that the technology that they are using in these days still look like that. So the Carbyne purpose and our vision is to deliver the world's best unified emergency ecosystem with a mission to save lives, minimizing response time and maximizing efficiency. Today, we are working from 7 offices. We have offices in Brazil, Mexico, New York, UK, Ukraine, Israel, and Hong Kong. We have more than 100 employees working with more than 100 agencies around the world, serving around 300 million people and analyzing more than 3.5 million calls per month, and growing with a very ambitious plan to go together with our partners to give this service in about 3 years from now to 1.5 billion people. A little bit about the solution. And again, I hope that you will have some questions because this is the main reason that I'm here. But the solution is a very, very wide, and we have different technologies, but the idea in general is how we are aggregating a bunch of data sources, such as we have a partnership with Apple and Google to provide emergency location services directly from the operating system when people are dialing 911. And we do have 6 states in Brazil as an example that signed already for this partnership, 85% market share. In Mexico, we have 21 states, in the US, and more and more. We've integrated into WhatsApp, into SMS providers. We are integrated into CCTVs, city cameras. So think about it. Those cameras are very, very smart. The idea is that those cameras will be able to detect car accidents, and without a human in the middle, they will be able to report to emergency services about the car accidents, and so as drones and satellites. In the middle, we have different solutions that we are providing as an over-the-top or a full system in a partnership that we have with Cisco, and obviously a bunch of different analytical tools and predictive tools that help government around the world to fight coronavirus as an example, etc. Those are some of our solutions. I will not get into them now, but you can see the evolution of what I've presented at the beginning, comparing to how it looks in this day, and it's a major effort with our team. This is a proof of concept that we've done with New York. So basically, we help them to aggregate information about people with symptoms and when they called emergency services, and to basically oversee where people are reporting fever or other COVID symptoms. And immediately we aggregated all this information and presented it into the very sophisticated dashboard that gave the decision maker the ability to understand how to allocate resources, which goal they need to close, where they need to send tests in order to test where people are positive or negative for COVID, etc., etc. And we did it with very powerful cloud solution that we have provided to different agencies throughout the state. And obviously, once we have and aggregated all this information, we've been able to provide to the governments that we are working with very powerful tools that gave them an awareness of what is happening throughout the state, including benchmarking and bunch of other resources. As we know, governments are slowly to adopt new technologies, but when you are showing them the benefits and what we call data-driven decision-making progress, they're understanding the benefits and they can make smarter decisions on how to improve the quality of life of people that are living in the cities. And our vision is going much greater and beyond 911. For example, we have now different partnerships with insurance companies that are interested in the Carbyne information. And think about it, you're now dialing to report about minor car accident. So the insurance company can get an alert immediately. They can help you immediately, and basically you can be paid back without waiting on the line for your insurance agents to answer you, etc., etc. So our vision is going much broader than 911, and we are seeing great adoption worldwide on how agencies and governments are adopting our solutions. We are working with many companies with a very basic principle. What other companies have developed, you don't need to develop, okay? If you can use other companies' services and infrastructure and technologies, so just partner with them and be focused on investing in innovation and bringing the other capabilities that those agencies are in need. So those are some of the Carbyne partnership, obviously all the tech giants around the world. And this is Google CEO in Latin America, in Mexico, announcing the Carbyne launch with Google for emergency location services. We were very proud. Currently, we have 21 states using our technologies in Mexico, and I'm really happy to share that we are saving lives on a daily basis. We have very excited events that were happening on a daily basis. We have more than 400,000 data sessions per day just in Mexico, and we delivered babies. We helped a young family that were kidnapped. They was in a journey from Honduras to the United States for work. They were kidnapped by cartels in Mexico. They called 911, who with Carbyne technology pinpoint their location. They show them how exactly the building looks, and they save their lives. And we have tens of thousands of events per day and great success stories thanks to technology and implementation that we are doing around the world. Also, exclusive partnership with Cisco to provide very powerful IP telephony infrastructure to governments around the world. And Carbyne is the only Cisco partner for emergency services around the globe. And thanks to those partnerships and thanks to our technologies, we've been able to deploy the biggest command and control centers around the world. I gave a few examples here. As you can see, we have here Mexico City, we have here Hidalgo, Rio de Janeiro, New Orleans, state of Florida. So just few examples of where and how and which scale Carbyne solutions are currently serving emergency services around the world. As I said, we are a global company. We are working in from 7 offices around the world, and we are supporting many different geographies around the world. In APAC, we are working with Singapore, Philippines, Hong Kong, Thailand, Ukraine, UK, New York, United States, obviously, Mexico, Colombia, Brazil, and growing rapidly all around the world to provide this essential service, which in COVID was unfortunately or fortunately, got a very powerful momentum because government were realizing that there is a real need for new generation of providers that are not buying to on-premise, equipment-based technologies, and there is a big need for cloud solution, remote installation, remote monitoring. So as an example, I will say that we got a phone call when COVID was starting in the United States in March from New Orleans, and 3 hours after the call, we've implemented our solutions thanks to the fact that we build it bottom up to be next generation. So COVID is very challenging time for many industries and many companies around the world, but is also representing huge opportunities because there is an evolution now in how governments in industries in general are looking at their technology. And I think this for the people in the crowd that have ambitious plans, if your solution isn't a fit to the trends that are now being implemented around the world, there is great momentum and a lot of money that is looking for new edge of technologies to address the new reality that we are all living in. This is part of our team that I'm very proud of. I'm not the only one that is driving the Carbyne vision forward, and we are doing it with very powerful investors and great advisory board. As an example, we have 2 former secretaries of Homeland Security for the US government in our advisory board, the head of the Federal Emergency Management Agency for the US government as well, people from the FBI, commissioners from LAPD, Boston Police, and very powerful that are helping me and the Carbyne team to achieve our mission, which is basically to save lives, minimizing response time, and maximizing efficiency for those governments that are working with us. I've tried to collect some tips, but Fabio, maybe we can jump into the questions, or you want me to talk about the tips and what we've learned during this journey in the last 5.5 years.
Yeah, feel free. I think feel free to share. I think what you learned. There are already some questions, but I would like to, if you can just continue with the presentation, and then we take the questions. What do you think about that?
Sure.
Yeah.
Pleasure. Yeah. So few tips that I've learned during this journey, which is absolutely a tough journey, and you need to be ready for a roller coaster. It's not easy, and there is a lot of different challenges. So I think the first lesson that I've learned is challenge your idea, evaluate yourself. The first thing is basically the most important one. As a young entrepreneur, you believe, as you remember, we've started with a mobile application. Our idea was that everybody in Israel at the beginning will download our mobile app and everybody will use it. And we've launched and invested a bunch of, hundreds of thousands of dollars in order to convince people to download the application. And it seems to us very obvious that everyone would like to have a mobile safety application on their devices. But unfortunately, after launching and investing in marketing a lot, we found out that people are not adopting mobile apps if they are not using them on a daily basis. Now it seems very obvious, but at that time we was a group of 15 people, very strong and powerful advisory board and board of directors, and everybody was in favor of this idea, and we are launching and nothing is happening. So challenging your idea and thinking twice a day about if this is the right thing or you fall in love with your idea, this is something which is very important. And another thing is evaluate yourself and your team. And basically the idea here is that I believe that as a CEO, you always need to have people that are better than you in the different skills that you need in order to build a successful company. And you need to be, as a CEO or a founder in a company, you need to be very transparent with yourself when you're looking at the mirror in what you're good at and what you're not good at. And basically, this is leading me to the next tip, which is don't fall in love with your idea, but listen to others. There is a lot of experience out there. Sometimes in our generation, you believe that all the information is available in the internet and you can search for it. But there is one thing that you cannot buy, in any place, which is experience. And experience is something that you have to been through in order to have enough mileage in certain areas. And I can say that listening to others and be open for feedbacks, it's something that is crucial. And especially we are, as Jewish Israelis, we believe that in most of the cases, we believe that we know everything. And I saw it for the first time when we started to raise money in the United States and we have opened our US company. So the respect and listen to others which have experience and been in this process and did it before is very, very important. Listen to the feedback, adopt them if you believe that this is the right thing, but listening is very, very important thing. Partners, I think this is the most important thing that a startup can be very successful or fail. It's the people from Founders Fund, that Peter Thiel told me once, that a successful business needs two things, cash and good people. It's very, very hard to find the right partners to work with. It's very hard to find those partners that will stay with you even in the hard times. Not always you are in the good vibes and everything is going as you planned. At the beginning, as an example, it took us something like 8 months, 10 months to raise the first money. And if you don't have the right partners that you need to select very carefully, you can find yourself with very serious trouble later on that might cause problems in your cap table and maybe in the future for investor not to invest, etc. So choosing your partners for good and for bad carefully, this is something that is very, very important and very, very crucial. And there is ways, I believe, to identify if people have this founder's mentality, as we call it. The thing that you need as a founder, as my mother is always telling me, you need to have kind of a pink glasses, that you need to see the world always in a kind of a pink view. Otherwise, it can be very, very challenging. And if you don't have this kind of behavior, kind of personality, you can find yourself with partners that sometimes taking you down. And this is something that is crucial and very, very important moving forward. Because again, there is no startup that I know that was always in that climbing every day. There is challenges. Investors will say no, yes, maybe, let's see. You believe that they are going to give you the term sheet, but they are not giving you. And then you need to start all the process from the beginning. So you need the support and you need to have good partners with you. And this is basically taking me to another tip. Be ready for no. You will always get no if it's from clients, if it's from investors, if it's for people that you're trying to hire. And basically, this is very, very important. And this is again another thing that, as an entrepreneur, you need to be ready, and you need to be prepare yourself for getting a lot of no's in general, and from statistics that we have collected. And I have a group of CEOs, some of my good friends. Usually when you're raising money, you're meeting with, 100 VCs, 10 will say yes, 2 will invest. So the amount of no's that you're getting for many different reasons, some of them are not even related to you. It's something that as a person, you need to be ready for. Which take me to another tip: choose your investors carefully. As I said, investors is like, married to a woman. At the end of the day, they are with you for the long run, for good and for bad. You need to have your investors, and at the end of the day, it's all about, people communication and people's relationship. And you need to be able to work with investors that will help you to grow, people that will not tell you what to do, that will support your vision and your goals, and will give you the ability to work and to execute your vision. This is something which is, again, we can talk about it for 2 hours, and this is something which is crucial. Sometimes entrepreneurs, when they are running after money, intend to say yes for everything. This can be a big mistake moving forward. And as they are doing due diligence on you, you need to do the same due diligence on them, and to see if they are a fit for your vision, what you're looking for in building this business. if historically they're looking for fast exit or they are here for the long run. So there is a lot of different characteristics that you should check in your investors and make sure the fit here is for the long run. And again, as they're investing and doing the due diligence on you, you need to do it the same on them. This is something that Ehud Barak was telling me, don't compromise on human quality, especially when you are a very small startup. And it's very, very hard to compete with the Amazons and Facebooks and Googles of the world. It's very hard to bring talents. You don't have enough money. You can't pay a lot. You can give them equity, but with equity, you're not going to the supermarket and going for vacations. So how are you convincing those people to join you at the beginning when you are 4 people and a dog in a very small office and you have a big vision, but no one knows you, you never built a company, you never did anything relates to entrepreneurships. And this is what caused sometimes young companies to compromise about humans' quality. And in the end of the day, as I said, strong people are multiples for any business. And sometimes if you are compromising down the road, you can find yourself doing things again and again because of the fact that the infrastructure, as an example in the beginning, was not built in the right way. So try not to compromise on human resource and invest as much as you can to see as much as, the highest amount of people that you can in order to maximize the potential of bringing the best people into your company. The last thing is that, as I said, listen to others, people around you, and ready for change. I think that, as I said at the beginning, you have a vision, you're starting your vision, you're starting to do some focus groups, you're meeting with your potential clients, they're telling you a lot of things, you're trying to convince them why they are wrong. But in the end of the day, a good startup is the ones that are listening to their clients and addressing real challenges with innovation, and not the ones that are bringing innovation without any client that's willing to buy it. So listening to your clients, be ready for change, and being open is another very strong tip that we have learned. And I think we were fast enough to adapt to those challenges and changes and listening to our market. And thanks to that, we are now in a position that we can continue and grow around the world. Those was some of my points, and I would be happy to take any questions.
It's amazing, Amir. Thank you. There are many questions here that I myself have a couple of questions. And while you were speaking, I think my heart was touched because, please correct me if I'm wrong, but of course, everybody's link to Israel and being proud of such a solution coming from Israel is something that directly touches our heart and makes us proud, independently of who is giving the solution and or who is just putting the world into better hands. I pointed out myself 2 things that might answer a lot of questions, and I'd like to share with you if you agree with me or not. But the goodwill that Carbyne generates worldwide, the significant helping people environment that you are dealing with. I mean, you're giving your clients the possibility of helping people, of putting people in a better hands, in better situations, right? And in the end of the day, you're also doing business. With all this, not only you're giving them the solutions, not only you're putting them into more, let's say, a better world, but you're also doing business with them. So one of the questions that we have is not one of my questions, but one of the Q&A questions is that once there are solutions that Carbyne provides, what made Carbyne be identified as the one possibility of investment for Mr. Barak? What do you think that Carbyne pulls out the eyes of this level of people?
Okay, should I stop sharing the presentation or? Yeah.
Yeah, I think no, you
Yes,
have
yes,
your
please.
email. Yeah. Okay, whatever. Yeah.
Okay, so I think it's a very good question. So I think it depends in which stage of the company you are. Okay, when I met Ehud Barak for the first time, I was 29. Okay, I was a meeting with a former prime minister, the former minister of defense. For me, it was a crazy event. And I had basically we had nothing. We had two pilots. We were I think 8 people. At that stage, you're investing in people. You're investing in the ability for those people to execute, for those people to bring a big vision that you believes in and you can basically support with your, capabilities and experience. And this is what you're investing in a seed stage. Okay, so you're coming with a presentation with two small pylons. And when Ehud Barak was and myself we met, after 1 hour, he told me, I'm going to invest in this company. And when I was speaking with him later on in different business trips that we've done worldwide, he told me that the reason that he invested is because of the leadership of this company. Because again, as an investors, you have a lot of different risks. At the seed stage, the only thing that is certain or you are basically gamble on is the ability of this team to execute the vision that he's telling you in a presentation. Many people are doing amazing presentations. Okay, presentation is pretty easy to do. But this team, they have the capabilities, they have the quality. So I think at the beginning, the investor that invested in Carbyne was investing because of the fact that they believe in us. It's not only me, it's me and my founders, other founders. So me and the tech team, and we had the ability to show them what we did without money, and we sold them what we can do with their money and experience. Okay. At later stage, and let's say in round, the first one was C, the round A, when we brought $7.15 million from investment from the US, we had to show some tractions. And basically most of it was R&D delivery, okay, research and development. There was not expecting for high revenues. They just want to see if we have the ability to build what we said we can build in the presentation that we did to Ehud Barak 1.5 years before. So we showed them the ecosystem. We showed them that we took $1 million and we built this ecosystem. We have 10 clients. They're not paying. It's a pilot, but we do have a product market fit and what we need. When we came to the D round with Peter Thiel and the other investors, basically what they looked for was to see the beginning of the growth of the revenues, okay? And this is a different ballgame because, of course, people and leadership and the ability to execute is very important, but also the market size, what has been achieved, what is the barrier to entry for other competitors into this market, what exactly you are disrupting, how big is this market, how fast you can capture significant market share, and different questions. So I think for your question, it depends on the stage, but I think the general consensus is that you need good people to lead a company for success, okay? And if you have a good and strong leadership and passion, and you have the knowledge and you have some experience in this market, all in all together, this is the key that investors are looking for. And I think we had it.
Yeah, great. Absolutely. We have like more, let's say, not a technical for you, but and one of the question is, can the governments convert this network for the, he writes here, oppressive reasons, let's say, stop protests? I would say maybe, I don't know if I'm reading the question well, but can you prevent, or can the government see that some protests are going in and just starting to build up, and they can, let's say, prepare themselves a little bit better?
Yes, so obviously I live in New York. I live in New York, and I'm here just visit in Israel. I'm based in New York City, and we have multiple discussions with many states now in the United States because of the riots and because what's happening with the George Floyd and all the vandalism and the protests, as you said. And actually, I think it's going for on the kind of the opposite sides. And now the states and federal government are asking the police for big reforms. And part of what Carbyne is bringing to the table is what we call transparency between governments and citizens. And think about it. I don't know if you are aware about the fact that in the United States, as an example, and also in other places worldwide, police officers are going with body cameras. So when they are leaving their police cars, they need to turn it on. They can do it or not do it. And the reason for it to for this industry to show up was because of the fact that there is violence between policemen and citizens. And basically, this is kind of an evidence to show that the policeman was acting as properly as it was expected from him. So what is Carbyne bringing is we are giving the power to the crowd, and we are transferring every person into a live video. Okay, so now every citizen in the city have the ability to show in real time what is going on to the government, and basically we are giving the power to the crowd. So I don't think that we will be able to reduce the protests, etc., because I think those protests are legitimate and they are for a good cause eventually. But we do give the governments a controllable solution, and they are showing that they are doing active steps in order to give their citizens what they expect for. Why I'm paying taxes all day long to my government, but when I need them and calling to 911, they have nothing about me. They don't know anything about me. And now we can also, help both sides. So I think that in some ways, if you're looking at it, we do have the ability to help governments and citizens to be more transparent one to each other, which is, I think, the first step in relaxing what is happening now around the world.
Nice. Another one is about how did you adapt for this pandemic times? What did you have to adapt for COVID-19 in your software, in your app?
Sure. So first of all, what we did in terms of product, as I said, we as a company have no ego, and we do believe that our customers know what they need. And as soon as COVID started, what we did is basically we created a conference call with 20 of our clients worldwide from different markets, from Mexico, Brazil, United States, Singapore, Philippines, different places. And we created kind of a focus groups. And we've asked them, what would you like us to provide for you to basically better handle this pandemic? And it was in the beginning, it was in March. So the consensus was, the big panic was, how can we reduce the amount of people that will attend to hospitals around the world? Okay, because many governments were very afraid about the hospitals to crash in case of many people will attend and they don't have enough beds, etc. So what we did is basically we built into our system a COVID section where we gave a full work from home for those call takers and responders to be able to collect information about people that are calling in panic to emergency services. And we gave them the ability to see the people face, so kind of a telehealth for emergency services, which is very new. And by looking at people face, you can actually see the reality if they have symptoms or not, and you can calm them down, because in most of the cases, you better stay home instead of coming to the hospital and then get the COVID. So it's you better stay home. One. Second, we've built a questionnaire for them to collect information about what kind of symptoms this person have. And we build a tool for the emergency services to be able to communicate with remote doctors. So at the beginning, many governments around the world was locked down. Still, in Brazil, it's still the same. And there is a need to connect doctors or nurses that are now sitting in a hospital with a 911 dispatcher that have no expertise in analyzing if this person have COVID or not, and to get second opinion. But the problem is that the 911 system is on-premise based, very old, very legacy, and they do want to share this information with the doctors. So we build a very powerful many-to-one infrastructure to provide them the ability to share information within the jurisdiction. So no matter if you're a remote doctor, EMS doctor, nurse, or 911 dispatcher, you have the ability to collaborate this information between the different agencies and to get second opinions. And by collaborative infrastructure that we've built, we gave them the ability to handle the amount of calls and the events, and actually the from 20 projects that we've done during the last 3.5 months, we really helped those governments to flatten the curve, and we are very happy about it. We are still waiting for a big project in Brazil, but they are very slow, and they fired 2 Ministry of Health in the last 2 months. So it's hope that we will get it soon.
You're right. Thank you. Very interesting. Brazil has a lot to learn from other countries yet, but we'll get there hopefully. I have to be honest. I have a personal question. So yesterday I was with a friend and we are talking about this webinar today, and I was telling him, listen, I have this opportunity. I'll meet Amir, and this is the innovation he just developed, blah blah blah. And we thought together, what do you think is the difference we are seeing today, let's say, from an outsider, United States and China, for a lack of a better word, fighting this technology and fighting this trade information, and they want to, who is more powerful. What is the difference of technology? What is the difference on handling, let's say, with I wouldn't say only China, but the Western world and then the Eastern world? You're living in New York, and you have, I don't know if it's Hong Kong or Singapore, your offices, but with the Western world, what would you say it is, let's say, different with dealing with these different cultures?
This is a question for Prime Minister, not for me. But let me. First of all, we are not working in China. I've been to China a few times, and there was a very big interest in acquiring some of our solutions. But we are not working by decision in China for many reasons. And it's very, very interesting to look at different countries around the world and how they are adopting, different technologies, and how the bureaucracy, I would say, influencing the ability for those government to execute and to fight COVID. As an example, I will give Israel. Okay, Israel is a very small country, very, very controlled by few people. And the privacy concerns and the balance between privacy, public safety, and citizens' privacy is, I think, at the right balance. Okay, so we all know that the right way to fight COVID is by implementing emergency applications. Okay, like Amagen or many other countries worldwide develop their own mobile apps that can track and trace people, and to let you know when Fabio and his friends was close one to each other, and if Fabio got COVID, so you can alert the other ones. Many governments around the world knows that this is the way to go. Okay, this is the only way that you will be able to fight COVID. But regulation, unions, privacy, GDPR in Europe, those kind of things are influencing dramatically the ability for government to do certain things. And as an example, in New York or other places in the United States, the regulation is not allowing use of this kind of technologies. Okay, and you can see what is happening now in Texas, in Florida, in California. It was very fast to close, very fast to reopen, and now they're closing again. Okay, unlike I don't know, UK and Singapore you've mentioned, and others that are more they are democracies, but kind of weak democracies, and the governments have a very powerful mandate to do what they think is the right thing to do. And again, there is a lot of doubts and discussions if it's the right thing or not. But if you're asking me what's the difference, because in these days, governments are sharing information between themselves, but some are choosing that way, some are choosing other way, and is mostly related to the regulation and the laws in the specific countries. And this what caused some countries to adopt certain technologies and other not. And of course, there is also an influence to the size. Enforcing 200 million people country like Brazil to do something is not like enforcing Israel that have one border, one airport. It's very easy to control. Brazil is, it's a different size, different scale. It is much harder to control those kind of things. So there is a lot of factors that are influencing on your questions, but it's law, regulation, size, dynamic, discipline, many, many different things.
Thank you. We are getting to 51 minutes, and I would like to ask the last question, if you can, so we don't get too long. I would like to invite anyone who has a question, please send to the Q&A button on your screen, and I'll be happy to send to Amir, or we try to answer it. So somebody's asking, Andrea is asking, where do you invest most of your energy? So Amir, in the end of the day, what do you focus? Where's your head going to?
So first of all, it's a very good question. So I believe that as a CEO of a company, you need to be able to deal with first of all, investors and investment. You're always looking for more money as a CEO of a company. This is one. So investors relation, bringing new investors, capital in general for your company is the most important thing. The second thing that I'm dealing with is strategic development of the company products. So I'm not sitting and deciding which feature to add or not, but we are giving the vision for the next 18, 24 months with all the information that we are collecting of the movements around the world. So what we want to be in about 2 years, strategic decisions, and basically designing the path to that vision, and then giving the VPs the homework and what they need to do. Strategic advisors, board of directors, and strategic accounts. So for example, we are partnering with the Carlos Slim Group in Mexico. So when I'm coming to Mexico, so we're going to meet with him and we have the strategic discussions, etc. So I'm trying to invest my time in the thing that can bring the highest value for the company. One, it's bringing money and the vision and the execution for the company, and bringing the best people that I can to execute this vision and to make it reality. And we have, as I said, we have a very big plans moving forward. As an example, we would like with Google and Apple and our partners to give this service to more than 1 billion people in the next 3 years. We are now building partnership with third-party applications such as IoT devices and third-party mobile apps to be able to share information with the Carbyne ecosystem. So think about it, you have a smart home. So the smart home systems the easy thing is alarms, but they can identify where there is a unusual heat, as an example, and they can alert the fire department without you calling even to the emergency service. So the vision is basically how to collect as much information from different IoT sources and to provide this information into emergency services without any human in the middle, and basically to be the first app store for emergency services. So give the ability for developers to be able to develop into the Carbyne infrastructure and to become the Salesforce of public safety. So this is where we are heading. This is our vision, and hopefully it will be executed.
Yeah, Amir, thank you. I having some backstage saying that everything was very interesting. I had a lot of fun.
Thank you.
I'd like to share something, and would like to listen to your view about it. I have 4 partners. So I run a multifamily office, 5 partners, and on every partner meeting, I always go to them and say, I don't look at the returns we are giving to clients at first time. I look at who we are doing business with. And I trust this is for every industry. And if something that I learned from you on your tips of your presentation is people is very important, listening, I would like to go back to that. It's so important that builds brick by brick a successful business, and your business is definitely a very successful business. I wish you the best on your business, on your health, on your family. And it has been an honor to me to be hosting this and to be sharing with everybody your experiences and a little bit of our experiences. Thank you very much. I hope to meet you hopefully in Brazil. You're more than welcome coming to Rio, me going to New York or whatever, hopefully in Jerusalem in a very near future.
Thank you very much. It was a pleasure, and again, feel free. My email was there, and happy to help in any way that I can.
Great. How old are you?
34.
34?
Yeah.
Great. Excellent. Stay safe, everybody. I just want to thank everybody of joining us, taking this opportunity to share this information with everybody in this webinar. We hope to see everybody in the next upcoming conversations. Stay safe, and thank you for your thoughts, Amir. Thank you very much.
Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Have a great evening. Thank you.